do is let's go to Module 9 Data Files, and under Tutorial, I want you to open the Financial Workbook, one very top. Okay, and you can put in your, we're not going to submit this, but you can put in your name and date if you'd like. And I want you to go to the Summary tab. Okay, the Summary tab on the Financial Workbook, the Summary Worksheet. Okay, you will notice a couple things. Okay, for example, if we go down to the bottom, you'll definitely see a pound name question mark, which is telling us, you know, there's an error in this formula. It wasn't a captured error, but there's an error in this formula. It's referencing something. It doesn't know what it is. Okay, and we could try to debug this ourselves by saying, okay, well, let's look at a cell and see where it goes back. But Excel provides some tools for us to do this, to audit the workbook or to investigate sources of errors. So let's go down to cell F18. Okay, this is definitely, you see it's referencing balance sheet G19. We could go to balance sheet G19, see what's in there, and go back and forth and go those kind of things. But if we look under formulas, okay, you'll see a group called formula auditing, and that's what we're going to concentrate on today, formula auditing. So what we'd like to do, and the first thing we're going to do here, is we want to check on the error checking, and let's go down to trace error. Now what you'll see is it says, okay, there's an external worksheet, that's what this little worksheet indicates, that leads to this cell, and there's an error there, okay? So now we'd like to trace that back. Well, you know, instead of going to balance worksheet, if we just double click on the tracer arrow, okay, you'll see it brings up a little go-to box. And it's referencing G19, so highlight that in the go-to box and click OK. So now we're on the balance sheet and we're on G19. You see again, well, there's still an error here. Okay, so there's an error here that leads to an error because that's what it's referencing, so we're going backwards here. So let's go to error checking again, and let's click on trace error. Okay, and you'll see this is saying in the G19 we have G13, okay, G13, which is nothing, plus G17, okay, G17, which is an error itself. So once again, we're going to double click on the arrow, and we want to go back to this worksheet because these add in to get to here, and then this is where the issue comes in. So double click on here, and it's taking us back to financial income statement B27. So let's click OK. Looks like we still have an error back here, So once again, I want to trace that. So go to error checking, trace error. Okay, and you'll see, well, this cell, this B24 minus B26, references B24 and B26. And you'll see that this one references B21, B23. This one references B19, B20. And we have an error here. And here's the source of our original error. What is the problem with that formula? 2 m's. So it doesn't know what that is. So let's go in F2 that guy. Let's get rid of the 1m. We hit enter. Okay, now you'll see it corrects all of our errors. So because it flowed from this worksheet all the way to the summary worksheet, you'll see now the balance sheet is corrected, the summary is connected, and we no longer have that error. I don't know, I don't use this when I debug my worksheet. I don't know, I think it's kind of cumbersome, but I want you to know that the tool's there, okay? That the tool's there to highlight where things come from, where you can go to. I kind of think it's a slower process than doing it manually, but it can be useful. If we want to get rid of the arrows, which we usually do, if we go up to Formula Auditing, click Remove Arrows, we can do so on all the tabs. Okay, I do use this tool. If we go to, this is another tool under the Formula Auditing. If we go to the summary worksheet, once again, and we go to F17. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate formulas. So this allows us to step into formulas and evaluate what the value is if we're getting some kind of value that we don't understand or doesn't seem right. So go to F17 of the Summary tab and click Evaluate Formula. Okay, you see it's underlined at this point. It says to show the result of the underlined, click Evaluate. The most recent result appears. Well, this really doesn't do much. All it's saying is balance sheet's referencing another cell. So what I would like to do is step into it. So click on Step In. Okay. And now we'll see balance sheet G11 references is made up of G7 plus G9 from the balance sheet. Okay, you'll see that the G7 is underlined right now. If we click on Evaluate at this point, it shows us what is referenced in G7. So in G7 we have, what is that, 2.2 million roughly? We're under G9. If we want to see what G9 references, we can step into that, and we'll see G9 is referencing depreciation C12. So it's referencing another workbook. We can step into that and see that depreciation C12 on the depreciation tab is referencing B4 minus C11. And we can evaluate, let's see what's in B4. Evaluate, let's see what's in C11. Okay, so we have 300,000 minus 441,000, I believe. And if we want to go back, all we have to do is step out. So we can go back, and it's evaluating things as we go back. So it's kind of a way to kind of do the tracer arrow thing, but in a different fashion. I do use this one. The tracer arrows, I guess it's good to visualize things. I'm more of a non-visual person. I'm more of a numbers person. So it kind of does the same thing, but allows me to see the formulas involved and evaluate the values of cells in a window. So I'm going to click close there. Okay. Now this one I do find quite useful, and it's not just used when we have problems, but when you're dealing with a large worksheet and there's a part of the worksheet that's real important. Maybe it's profit, maybe it's a percentage, maybe it's something that's critical in this worksheet. It's one value, and perhaps it's buried in the top or in the bottom, and you're somewhere else in the workbook. Okay, for example, you're in row 1 and this value is down in row 2000. You could split the workbook, I know, but what this does is builds a little window, okay, a little watch window, so we can monitor a certain value when things change. So switch to the income statement. I think we did that already. Let's go up here to the formula auditing group, and we're going to click on the watch window. Okay, you see the little glasses there with a workbook, and click on watch window. And that's what this is. It's a little window that has watches in it. Okay, so right now it's blank, but we're going to add some watches to it. So we're going to click Add Watch, and let's watch. It wants us to watch the summary sheet, and apparently, let's see, it wants us to watch F9, which is year 5 net income, and click Add. Okay, so even though we're back on the income statement, this window, this little watch window, you can see, now shows us, and I don't want to do that. Shows us what's going on in the financial worksheet. So if we change something, let's say we change the assumed tax rate, this is in the income statement, from 33% to, a France-like 52%. Okay, how does that affect our income statement or our cash flow in year 5? It went from 500-some thousand to 423,000. If we'd like to add another watch, let's click Add Watch. Let's go to the Summary tab. And let's do already did what 14? Well, let's do net cash flow and click Add. Okay, so now I know what my net cash flow is, and if I change something, maybe we get cheaper goods, take that down to 50%, we can see the results without going to those tabs. Okay, so can kind of show us what happens in other worksheets, other workbooks, with a little window that we can see the results of that. If we want to turn that watch window off, we can, well, if we want to delete a watch, we can just highlight it and delete the watch. If we don't delete it, it will be there. We can turn the watch window off and get back to, they're still being watched, but we don't see the watch window because now we have full screen. Okay, so that's the only things that, there's also trace predecessors, trace dependents, but there's little tools up there that helps you navigate through a workbook, especially as we get to building more and more complex worksheets and workbooks. Any questions on that? 15 minutes of that. Okay. All right, so the remainder of the time you can work on Module 9 case, which is due Wednesday along with the out-of-class quiz. Wednesday we will start Module 10, which is what-if analysis and scenarios and all kind of good things.